everybody, and welcome to USA TV News Talk. My name is Chris Ponte, and my co-host is Angelo Notaro, and we are here on a beautiful summer day, Wednesday, July the 5th, to talk about what's going on locally, nationally, and even worldwide, current events, and what's going on in the sports world. To recap from our first show, I would like to talk about a few things before we bring Angelo in. During our first TV talk show, we talked about Greece and the austerity package that was just about to unfold and be signed on in Greece. It went through, and the people took to the streets. Riots actually burned government buildings, and which doesn't bear well for us here, because these same types of measures will be taking place in all states across our great country. Since the last time we spoke, Southern California has put forth a decree to secede from the rest of the state of California. Minnesota's government has shut down. Connecticut and Florida will be eliminating thousands of state jobs in an effort to try to make something out of nothing. This is a turbulent time in our country. The price of oil is always the underlying cause, the energy prices of what's going down in this country, and it's fascinating to watch, but even a little scary at the same time. Now, having said that, I'd like to bring in the co-host, Angelo Notaro. And
hello.
Nice to see you again.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah?
Looking forward to another great show here. I don't have too much to add other than the oil prices are, you would think that we'd be getting a break. Like you had mentioned in the earlier on our conversation, saying that the United States has freed up the oil fields, and I asked you, Chris. I said, basically, do you think oil will come down and the prices of fuel come down? Me personally, being in the auto business, it definitely is a great thing. You know what I mean? When prices come down, you sell more cars, you sell bigger vehicles, bigger trucks, and I know the environmental people don't want to hear that, but it's overall good for business. I mean, where do you think that oil, prices wise, with this opening of the fields, will bring us?
Well, before I left today, I checked the price of oil. Now, you have to understand that oil is still negotiated in terms of dollars, and today's price was $95.60. This was just an hour ago, but you have to remember that is based on the $50 a barrel price, which means that what the 95 actually represents is the devalue in the dollar. Now, I listened to a gentleman by the name of Lindsey Williams, who is a chaplain on the Alaska pipeline in the 70s. So he got to know the world's elite. And I received an update from him 2 days ago. And basically, his word from the elite is this: gas prices will stay the same throughout the summer, under $5. Why? Because many people have woken up to what the globalists are trying to do. But come September to December, there'll be a 25% increase in both silver and gold, and oil prices will go through the roof.
Ugh. That's not something you look forward to, especially if you got a family of four and you're trying to take somebody on a vacation, an air flight. That's just something that doesn't sit well with the economy. And
here's the thing. What's maddening about it is that there is enough oil just in the northern slope of Alaska to last our country 200 years. But through environmental measures, through environmental bills, like the Morris-Udall bill of the 70s, all this oil has been what? Legislated to stay under the ground. Literally to keep one or two caribou from moving upfield a mile or two. They've kept our wealth from the people. And this is the reason why we're paying such ridiculous prices from the OPEC countries.
That is crazy. I mean, personally, I think, being in the auto business, it does help us in one sense. A lot of people are taking their SUVs, their big gas-guzzling vehicles, and trading them in for, basically 4 cylinders, like we spoke about, hybrids. So it does help business a little while, but I just think that business, that chunk will go away, and then I think the auto business will hit a rock bottom soon enough.
Well, here's the deal, though, and I didn't realize this when I was up and coming, but the more and more I study it, the more and more I realize that it's the energy cost that drives everybody's budget, right? So not only have we settled for $4 a gallon, it really should be under $1 a gallon based on what we really have on our continent.
Amen.
But, hear me on, try me on for size. The key is that if you're a small business owner and your electrical bill is through the roof, guess who's losing their job every June 30th? That odd man. You cannot go from being a small businessman to a thriving large company when you constantly have to worry about energy prices and costs.
Wow, that's terrible. The little man hurts. It really hurts badly. Just changing the topic. Just wanted to know how your 4th of July weekend went.
Oh, it was great. Had a wonderful weekend. Had a comedy set that went well down in New York City. Worked the other days at Major League Baseball. It was nice going into New York City. It's always nice and very festive. And yourself?
Awesome. That I have a title fight coming up this Saturday in Poughkeepsie, and 4th of July is all about beer and good food. And I'm coming from a big Italian family, and when you got to look away from it, you know what I mean, and turn it away, it gets you a little angry that you can't have that food. So it was okay. The fireworks were good. Watching other people drink beer and eat some good barbecue wasn't my ideal 4th of July. Could have been a little better. I do enjoy that. Those brownies and those cupcakes and those festive cakes. So it's maybe I'll do some celebrating this weekend.
What's your optimum fighting weight?
I'm a heavyweight. Basically fight anything over 200 pounds.
Okay.
But I made an agreement with my opponent that I wouldn't come in more than 20 pounds than him. So I have an agreement. Basically it was a bad maneuver on his behalf because that makes me train harder, makes me a little more angrier. Me being Italian, if I have to turn away cannolis and pasta and stuff like that, I get a little angry. Okay, only joking. But it definitely keeps me focused, keeps me into a sense of that I need to strive for something, and I'm fighting for the AKBF Masters title Saturday night. I want to bring that title home to my friends and my family and my loved ones.
Now tell me, because I need to be educated, how is a winner declared? Is there a point system, a lot like boxing? Are there rounds?
This fight's going to be 3 2-minute rounds, and it could either be ended by knockout, obviously, end early, which I aim to do that. I train hard for that. But if we need to go 3 rounds, it goes to a decision. There's 3 judges at the event. Our friend Al Brun happens to be one of the judges. I hopefully, like I said, I don't have to use Al. You know what I mean? I basically have the mentality that the judges should put their pencils down, and I'm going to end the fight early. And out of 15 of my fights, 12 have been by knockout. So I'm doing pretty good at something, I guess, right?
Oh, so you've won 12 of the 15, or you've won all 15?
I've won all of them. I won all
so you
of
have not been bested. Now, what's the record of your opponent?
He is 6-1.
Oh,
so he's got a good
almost like
record,
a newbie.
Yeah, he's 6-1. I wouldn't say 1-0 would be a newbie. 6-1. He's got some experience, and the Masters title is for 35 years old or older.
Okay.
So you fight somebody at your age. Basically your conditioning. Bring it. I'm so ready right now. I'd fight right now if I had a chance.
You're ready to go. Now, how often do you fight?
Whenever I'm offered a fight. My last fight actually was just 2 months ago in May. So I got offered this fight, and I thought about it. I almost dwelled on it. Maybe going on vacation, but you know what? It's a hunger. It's something. When you're a fighter, like any sport, you're competitive. It just comes back to you full circle, and basically you go for it.
Now, as far as your health and protection, who takes on the liability every time you go in the ring? Do you have to cover yourself as far as any injuries? Does the federation?
Good question. Actually, the Federation, American Kickboxing Federation, along with the promoter, cover any types of injuries by the fighters or anything like that. And basically, I mean, from a personal standpoint, you should always, like, I've heard a referee say it before, protect yourself at all times.
Sure.
They're there to protect you, too. The referees are there to protect you. It's a safe league. The promoter I've been fighting for, John Carlo, has basically been doing shows for like 15 years now, and he's never had any major injuries. I mean, it's a nice, safe environment. Like I said before, this is my softball league. Instead of catching fly balls, I like to get punched in the face. So.
Now, it sounds like a couple of married guys I know. We'll say, what am I saying? So they take on the liability, and you feel comfortable with that. Do you have any representation as far as management?
Oh, without a doubt. I have a tremendous promoter in John Carlo. He's basically offered me the right fights. I mean, I'm undefeated for a reason. I train hard, but John's always found the right opponents for me, not somebody who was the next Mike Tyson, obviously. Mm-hmm. I've had to earn a lot of my fights. A lot of guys, a lot of these fights were tooth and claw, and basically, down to the last minute or even the whole distance of the fight. My trainer is Tony Stracconi, a great guy. I call him a friend before he's a trainer. He's always looking out for me health-wise and always looking out for the best interest of the fighter. That's what makes him a great trainer. He also trained Tracy Patterson, who his father trained him as a fighter, Floyd Patterson. So boxing is it's a big family. It puts a lot of effort into it, and it takes a lot of people to come together in a melting pot and basically represent yourself through the fighter.
Well, let me ask you this: what's the money situation as far as the sponsorship? Is there interest in the sport to grow it? I mean, are there cameras there? Are there local media that cover this type of thing? Do advertisers come to it? Without
a doubt. There's tons of advertisers. This is going to be a sellout. There's about 30 businesses that actually take VIP tables there to back up the sport. It's also on pay-per-view. It's something you can order at a later time once they combine it all together. It's something you can order. And there's numerous newspapers, magazines there. It's a little touch of mixed martial arts, which in New York State you can't do the total package. But what I do is American kickboxing is basically a little touch of that, not with the grappling and the jiu-jitsu behind it. So it definitely has a huge following, and as a sponsor, you can relate to that because it draws a big crowd, and you want to see your customers there at an event like that.
As we talk this very day, there are two major sports that are experiencing lockout: the NFL and now the NBA. Why is this happening? Because the unions got strong. Now the performers have leverage. Do you guys have union?
We do not have a union. We're an amateur program. I don't think pro boxing has a union. That's probably part of the problem why pro boxers right now, guys who have fought in the past, have suffered. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. We talked about Ali.
Yeah, not just Ali. I mean,
during our last show.
Right. For every Muhammad Ali, there's a Jerry Corey. There's a fighter out there that was misrepresented financially, wasn't given the medical know-how on how to protect them and their health. And without a union in pro boxing, or even like UFC or MMA, I don't think there's a union. I think maybe there's talk of one, but right now there is definitely not. There's no protection for the fighter. Is the UFC the one with the cage? Yes. Mixed martial arts. What's that all about? And that's real cage. And that's not like growing up WWF cage. No, that's a real cage. They lock up. Actually, how could you get sanctioned to do something like that? A guy could actually get killed in the ring. Believe it or not, UFC is actually probably a little